Welcome to Full Chat. Here you can find the full unedited interviews that take place for Auto Repair Focus's range of topical aftermarket video features. In this episode, I'm talking to Alex Lindley from Garage Hive about garage management systems and their benefits for customers. You can find the full Auto Repair Focus garage management system feature on our YouTube channel. Simply search for Auto Repair Focus, and when you get there, don't forget to like and subscribe to make sure you never miss out on future content. First question. How do garage management systems benefit workshops?
So I think there's multiple ways that garage management system can benefit a modern workshop. For me, a really important part of it is the improvement in the customer journey. So a lot of the modern CRM features, so the customer relationship management features such as reminders or online booking, it's all very difficult to do without a management system. You can get these features as individual products, but a management system brings them all together. It folds it all into one. So I think that's one of the most, I guess, underrated parts of a GMS. There's obviously the efficiency gains in being able to like recall document history, have a diary system that's all in one place, so have an estimate becomes a job sheet, becomes an invoice. So there's a lot of efficiency gains to be had just by being more organized and being digital. Although I know that can be quite scary to people, and often letting go of that paper diary is something that people are very reluctant to do. And I've actually seen it quite a few times where people will use a management system but still keep the paper diary because they're not quite sure that that's the right thing to do. But I think if you embrace all the technologies together, there's a lot of efficiency gains to be had. And then I guess the final piece for me is the ability to collect data in a way that business owners can understand and make good business decisions off the back of. Again, if you don't have a GMS, that data is very fragmented. You might be waiting for like a profit and loss, for example, to be able to start making business decisions. So from a high level, there's sort of the three main areas in my mind where people can benefit from a garage management system.
And what examples can you give? How can they improve customer relations? Because, as the industry is really, we still got those perceptions, which I hate, of, the garages, ripping off or this, that, or being untrustworthy. But with a decent garage management system in place, you're able to sort of inform customers, keep them up to date, and build a decent relationship with them, aren't you?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And especially if you look at what the dealerships have been doing, and I know not all dealerships have a great reputation to all people in the independent sector, but they've utilized technology over the years to improve that customer journey. Now, some customers really like the old school phone call or the personal interaction. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that any of that stops, but there is a whole wave of modern customers who do want the modern technical touch point. So whether that is a text message reminder, the ability to book online and availability in the evening instead of having to phone the garage during the daytime. If I think about what we do in our garages, vehicle health checks are a part of what we do, and being able to display that information and the pictures and the prices to the customer in a digital format that they can consume in their own time. Now, we still call the customer, but we just complement the phone call with the digital piece as well for the consumer to actually be able to understand. Alongside the digital piece, we will send over things like explainer videos to explain, why it is that you need your brake fluid changed, for example. Now, it's not for every customer, but it's an option, and it's something that a lot of customers do like, and the ability to self-authorize as well. So I think that in the CRM piece, having technology allow either an entirely digital journey or the technology complements your existing journey with some digital aspects. And then finally, for me, when it comes to customer relations, obviously understanding how the customers feel about the experience. Again, it's something that you could do without GMS, but when it's just an automated part of the customer journey. So again, in our garage, at the end of every transaction, we will survey the customer in the evening by text message. We get a response rate of about 30%, and that is 30% of customers that we're hearing from, good, bad, or indifferent. Now, this is, in my opinion, this is different from collecting reviews. Reviews you tend to ask for a review when it's a good experience. What you're actually after is the feedback in a survey format, which you wouldn't necessarily get from a review. And I think that's really important for the garage owner, especially if you're trying to drive the business forward. Having an understanding of how the customer feels, whether it's good or bad, is really important. If you see those metrics going up, you want to make sure they're sustainable. So again, when it comes to customer relations, all of that stuff comes with a good GMS.
It's not just about sort of booking systems and customer relations. Well, I don't know for Garage Hive, there's a lot of integrations there. How important are those integrations to increase the value of the systems?
Again, this comes back to the first point I made around efficiencies. So when anything is integrated, there has to be efficiency gains. That is the point. So if you think about technical data being integrated from within a job sheet on a garage management system, can that technician get access to the technical data on that vehicle at the click of a button? That is how technical data should be integrated into a GMS. Again, with a service advisor, they have identified that a customer needs an estimate on something. Can they use the technical data to get the repair times or the oil specification? It's just making people's lives and processes within the business slicker through an integration. Take parts ordering, again, as a good example. Part of a process for us is that we'll order the parts for tomorrow in the morning the day before. So 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, we're ordering tomorrow's parts. Now, with a integrated parts catalog, that's a really easy process for someone to do, especially when we're talking about like oil filters and the more common stuff. It's really easy to use parts integrations to get those job sheets built up and get the parts ordered for tomorrow. So again, any integration should save time. That is the purpose of an integration. So another example of that would be integrated payment terminals. A customer comes to pay their bill at the end of the day. Instead of you having to get the card terminal and manually type in the amount and go through that process, at a click of a button in the GMS, you can get the amount due to be displayed on the card terminal fully automatically with an API straight from the GMS, like a Tesco's transaction, for example. It reduces human error and it increases efficiency. So integrations are a major part of GMSs for sure. Another big aspect of integration, something that you really need to look out for when considering a GMS, is your accountancy process. So most people, if I say Sage or Xero or QuickBooks, that's going to cover most of the market. So the GMS should have either an export or ideally what you would call an API integration with these platforms. That means that the data required to do the job in the accountancy package, such as QuickBooks, is sent via an API from the GMS. So full digital transaction straight into the accountancy platform. Again, increasing efficiency significantly, but most importantly, when it comes to accountancy, you're reducing input errors and human errors. So when it comes to things like VAT returns and profit and losses, the data is much more reliable.
What about garages that don't have a front of house or just one or two technicians working on vehicles? That's it. How can garage management systems benefit them? And, do they have anything to fear from just being a small volume employer compared to some of the larger centres?
I think that we're very lucky in the UK in that we have a lot of choice. There are several really good garage management systems out there in the market, and each one has its ups and downs, and each one is certainly better for certain demographics. So if you take a smaller garage, for example, there'll be a simpler, less admin heavy software out there, but you still get so many of the benefits. So if you think about the automated reminders, if you think about the digital diary, all of that stuff still comes with a lot of benefits. The ability to recall vehicle history is major. That's a benefit for any business. Doesn't matter if it's a one-man band or a 20 technician business. Those benefits are the same. Now, platforms come in varying degrees of complexity, and that complexity is normally correlated with the feature set. So if you're a smaller business, you might need a less complex software with just the very basic feature set to get started. But as I said, the good news is that as your business grows, you can evolve which systems that you use, or you can start with a relatively complex system from the beginning and then grow into that system as your business grows. So I think a lot of that decision comes down to your business ambition and at the pace at which your business wants to grow. I would always ask existing users within that software. So whoever you're inquiring with, see if they can put you in touch with businesses of a similar size and a similar demographic, and get some real world feedback from its existing users. But to answer your question in short, there is a benefit from a one-man band all the way to a national company. I highly recommend some going digital with a GMS for sure.
Are they complex systems to understand? And what would you say to someone who's, looking at GarageBand's system, who currently uses the pen and paper, the diary method, but is thinking about maybe going digital, but maybe is a bit sort of wary of the potential complexities around garage management software?
So the complexity is directly correlated with the feature set, and the feature set is correlated to how much of your process you want to run through a piece of software. Now, I can't remember who used the quote, but someone said to me once that paper is fast and furious. You're never going to get quicker than paper, right? You're never going to get quicker than writing down that booking in that A4 diary, which just says MOT 10 o'clock. Not even a vehicle registration on there. It's just, you're not going to get quicker than that. So it's about slowing down today to speed up tomorrow, and getting yourself or your team in the mindset that change is difficult, and a change worthwhile is going to be more difficult. And the more of your process that you can put through a GMS, and what I mean by that is your business is made up of a series of processes, and how many of those processes flow through a piece of software. The more of your process that touches a piece of software, the more it's measurable, the more it's scalable, which means that at some point in the future, as you onboard a new member of staff or as your business grows, it makes it much easier at that point than maybe it does today, because I know that the change today is going to come with pain, but the reward is down the line. So you've got to pick and choose your battles. Now, it may be that you go with the most complex software that there is, but you don't use all of it just yet, but you can grow into it. Or you start with a really simple product that at some point in the future you may have to move again and go through that change cycle again. So it's all ups and downs, and it's down to the individual business owner to make that decision on where they are in their current journey and what their future plans are.
And how does Garage Hive work with garages to help them integrate the system into day-to-day working? And what are you specifically offering garages?
So Garage Hive, as I mentioned through this interview, Garage Hive sits at the higher end of complexity. We pride ourselves in that nearly every process in running a business can flow through Garage Hive. So it's an end-to-end process, very well tried and tested on how to run a garage. So customers will come to us and they may have some processes, they may have no processes, they may have brilliant processes, but the Garage Hive process is one that works quite well, and it's made up of hundreds of garages inputs over the last 7 years or so. So what we do, we will go out on site with the garage with one, two, or three of our trainers, depends how big the business and how complex the business is, and we will actually train all of the staff entirely on what their process looks like on Garage Hive, and then how they all work together. It's not just a software that we would give you to just run with and try and figure out yourself. And that's just because we try and get as much of your process running through. Now, off the back of that, what Garage Hive prides itself on, data collection and the business analysis that you can get out the back end of that, because the process is so rock solid, it gives us a really unique data set that the business owner can then start making really positive change and positive decisions on. And I think the really important, as a business owner, I've been here myself, you make a decision based on intuition, and you kind of have to run with your gut feeling, and it's kind of anecdotal on whether that's working or not. I'm a really big believer in making something measurable. So if you're going to make a positive change, I'd really like to see how that's reflected in the numbers. And if I am deciding to make a change, what am I basing that decision on? Instinct and intuition is important, but if you really want to accelerate growth in a business and know that where you're putting your energy to make that growth happen, making sure that's in the right place, I think that's where data really comes into its own. So Garage Hive, strong process, really good training, and great data analysis, and those three things combined typically result in a positive change for the business.